It's clear to me from listening today that we still have a lot of work left to do. I want to start with trying to look at this issue from 30,000 feet. For many years now, college athletics has generated enormous revenues. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a good thing. The Supreme Court comes along in the Alston case, is that right? In 2021, and changes where that money's going. Before, that money was going to TV stations and universities and coaches and others, I guess, construction companies that were building the new stadiums. And then after the Supreme Court decides the Alston case in 2021, the kids start getting paid. And all hell breaks loose. I mean, is that what is going on here?
Hey folks, welcome back to Hot News Today. You're not going to want to miss this one. It got real. We sat down to talk about the rights of college athletes, but instead of just talking about policy, I asked the question nobody wanted to touch. Is all this controversy just because the kids are finally getting a piece of the pie? Grab a seat. This isn't your average committee hearing.
The fact that the money is being redistributed, and that's going to cause the world to spin off its axis because the kids are getting a share of the dough? Governor?
What I would say, Senator, in response to the Alston decision is there is flexibility for schools that can afford to make Alston payments to do so, and they can make Alston payments in particular sports, as long as they manage to satisfy the Title IX requirements. And they can choose what level they want to support, and they can also choose to play or not.
But you're getting down into the weeds, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. We're going to have to get in the weeds. But that's what before the Alston case, everything was just fine. And then the Alston case is handed down, and the kids start getting some of the money, not the adults. The adults have got a share. And all of a sudden, the world's on fire. What am I missing here?
For the record, I support the Alston stuff. I also support NIL. I just would like to see a little more transparency and support for information to make it easier for student athletes to succeed in this space.
For years, college athletics has been pulling in billions, TV deals, merch, coaching salaries, the money's been pouring in. But then boom, 2021. The Supreme Court hands down the Alston decision. And suddenly the athletes get a piece of the revenue. Suddenly everything's on fire, chaos, lawsuits, complaints. Let's talk facts. Before the ruling, cash went to TV networks, schools, and coaches. Now, some of it's going to the players. And you'd think that would be good. But no, people are in panic mode. It's about control. The industry had a monopoly on these kids' value. Now athletes can cash in on NIL, name, image, and likeness.
Any of you, what am I missing about this? Isn't this fight over the fact that the kids are now getting some of the money that the adults were getting before? Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. The injustice that has been inflicted on college athletes seemed to be fine for the industry until we won some court rulings and state legislatures started passing laws. Essentially, the industry had a monopoly on college athletes' NIL value. They owned every penny. Nike wants to slap a logo on a kid, got to pay the school. Kid can't get a penny. That's what this is about. Many of the schools even said, hey, if that happens, we're going to lose money. Well, that means you've been stealing money from these kids. If it's against, like, the Supreme Court, if it violates antitrust law, that's the problem. You know, the opposition, even employment stats, all this is about, we don't want to pay them fairly. You know, NIL, just so you know, this is not equitable economic situation here. That's like saying, go get another job because we're not going to pay you for what you do here.
One of the panelists called it the Wild West. There's confusion, there's inconsistency, but the old system wasn't paradise. It was a monopoly dressed up like tradition, and the minute players got rights, folks cried foul. This is about money, not morals. They say if we pay athletes, schools will lose money. If that's true, you were stealing from them.
We're talking about equal rights, and this industry is operating in an illegal fashion. It's breaking antitrust law, breaking labor laws, and now it's coming home. And players are getting, you know, avenues and levers and pulling leverage, and here we are saying the sky's going to fall, but it's not the truth.
I agree with you. I don't mean to go over so much, Mr. Chairman. We are talking about rights here, but we're also talking about money. And it just seems to me that this controversy in part has been caused by a model of redistribution for that money. And I've got a lot of sympathy for the kids, I have to tell you. The adults seem to be able to take care of themselves, but it's the kids that make all this possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
At the end of the day, this is about rights. It's about fairness. And yes, it's about money. But the ones bringing in that money, they're not the boosters. They're not the TV execs. It's the student athletes putting their bodies and futures on the line every single week. I've got a lot of sympathy for them. And if we're going to fix this system, we've got to start by being honest about what's broken. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who loves college sports, and subscribe for more straight talk from DC to the locker room.